The last of this series of festive vlogs addresses tribalism. Why? Well, it seemed like a fitting end to this particular show because of what I'm seeing. I'm seeing more tribalism than ever before, and I'm seeing more people falling for the same lies, for the same nonsense as before, and it's all totally avoidable misery and bullying and evil being committed against fellow humans. And we see this happening all the time. And this is a self-protection problem. It's an apolitical problem. It can be a political problem as well. Obviously, it very much is. And politics shows you tribalism more than anything else. But I look at it from an apolitical perspective. And we should be able to agree that bullying is wrong. I think most cultures would agree upon that. And persecution is wrong. Certainly, persecution of people based purely on being different, which is what a lot of it arises from, is wrong. And excuse me if you think I'm being too simplistic about this, but we are seeing plenty of examples of tribalism and the carnage that results from that tribalism. Why mention it in this particular vlog? Well, besides being a self-protection subject, it is a Christmas subject. It is a winter solstice subject. So the way I see it in the Western Hemisphere, as long as records go back, there has been some form of gathering of individuals during the winter solstice. And obviously, a lot of this can be put down to the being at the mercy of nature, being at the mercy of the most harsh months of the year when it's at its coldest, when crops don't grow, when food isn't as plentiful, and you're exposed to all the extremities of a harsh wilderness or environment. And the best way to cope with that is in a group, working together, and which breeds a sense of community. And clearly, that has been codified into various different religions, whether it was trying to bring back sun gods and observing that particular cycle, anything along those lines. But of course, the resultant benefit of that is the community that it would have created. So it might have been single tribes, and most probably was, but I'd like to think that there were gatherings of other tribes. We certainly know of plenty of examples within various different societies where tribes have met together, and still happens to this day throughout various different subcultures in different countries. So, with that being in mind, we look at the issue of tribalism, the antithesis of this, where tribes would fight each other for various different reasons. And sometimes those reasons would just be simply just over territory, or it would be in defense of being raided. But of course, a lot of that again gets codified into prejudice. Our prejudices probably have their roots in our natural sense of discrimination, our selective evolution to be wary of things that are different, which makes sense. So from a very primitive primal sense, and there's a degree of discrimination that has to be practiced within self-protection. We do need to be wary of things that we don't know, we don't understand, but we don't have to be hateful of that. The trouble is that when fear arises from that wariness, from genuine fear, then we get the hatred, and we're seeing this all the time, being throughout multimedia, finding enemies, being binary about how we feel about other people, them and us, if you like. Be really wary of people who tell you to pick sides. I'm very deeply suspicious of all ideologies, whichever end it is. But when you've been told to pick sides, be wary of where your moral compass actually lies. And I think there's a lot of common ground between different people and different cultures and backgrounds. There are certain universal norms that we can agree upon, reflect true integrity, that reflect true altruism, the things that make societies operate in a healthy way, ideas such as justice and charity. There's common grounds that you can find across all cultures and going back for, throughout the history of civilization, things that make us civilized. And again, I appreciate I'm being very simplistic about this. From a self-protection perspective, why is this important? Well, we don't want our self-protection to knowledge to be tainted by myths, by legends, by falsehoods. We don't want these things to distract us from the realities. If we want to be practical about our self-protection, then we need to be honest about that self-protection, not just looking at things that are just, that's the enemy. Why? Because we're being told it's the enemy. We need to be looking at the evidence that supports these things. Be wary of propaganda that is being put across to dislike people, to hate people, to rally against different people. This is, again, this is very much at the core of the Christmas message, where regardless of what faith or non-faith that you support. And again, it is an important self-protection lesson. We don't want to be jumping at shadows. We don't want to be putting our energies towards fears that are unlikely threats. We want to be looking at what are the real threats. So look at the genuine statistics. Steel man your arguments. Look at the best argument against what is making you fearful of a certain group of people, of a certain area. And also ask yourself whether when you're trying to combat a dangerous ideology, a dangerous movement, whether your swing too far in the other direction might actually be meeting them around the other way. Because again, we see that as well. Remember, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, and Aldous Huxley had quite a good things to talk about how the means don't justify the ends as well. So be wary of that when you think that you're on a righteous journey, and if that righteous journey means vilifying large groups of people, no matter sometimes how bad their views seem to be, look for the common ground. There's plenty of people that, again, are blocked on social media or don't have anything to do with and, wary of being associated with. But there are still other people that whose views I don't support. But yet still I can see the genuine goodness in them, the genuine good intentions within them as human beings. And I know there's common ground. And I do have that genuine faith in them and in humanity, if you like. So again, that's a self-protection lesson. Don't be naive to short-term threats and problems, but at the same time, don't manufacture or allow others to manufacture unreal threats as well. Deal with what is the real problems and work on building better communities. Better communities mean more security, which means better short-term and long-term self-protection. And if you're interested in booking me for 2026, please get in contact. I offer a variety of bespoke services in self-protection. That's personal security and self-defense, ideal for the individual, small group, or your business. I have provided services to a wide variety of different institutions, businesses, both nationally and internationally. In the meantime, please have a restful, fun, joyous, and safe festive season.